Thank you all. So the exciting news, of course, is that the Housing Related Services and Supports Program is now going to increase the populations that we can serve. We have been able to serve the Housing Related Services and Supports Program with the Targeted Adult Medicaid. I know that we have a few new providers on this call, and so I want to be sure that I explain everything without shortcuts and that sort of thing. TAM is Targeted Adult Medicaid, and that has been the focus of our services up to this point. We were allowed recently to add the adult expansion population to those that we're able to serve. So we will be doing that starting today, and Linda and I are going to give you the tools to do that. For those of you that haven't met us, I'm Christine Wynn, and Linda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Linda Robinson.
And we are excited. We have probably 3 new providers that have either joined us recently or are in the process of completing the enrollment process. So there are going to be a few more agencies for people to access. You will be getting additional information as we move forward. There will be a MIB article in the fall, and we will also be updating the Services and Supports Program Service Provider Manual. So look for those changes. Once that is accomplished, that will be on our website, and it will be by the end of the month that the website is updated with the information that you will need more specifically. But what we're giving you today is hopefully a way to begin serving people right away. And if there are some changes that come around in the next couple of weeks, we will notify you of that in email so that you receive it right away. You won't have to keep checking, the website or anything along those lines. Linda and I will be in direct communication if there are any changes that occur. We want this training to be relaxed and comfortable. We want you to ask questions as you have them. We can also, at the end, if there are more questions or if there are a few of you that would like to stay on longer and become clearer about things, Linda and I are happy to stay on as long as you need us. So we will get started. I wanted to share, because this is quite new, I really wanted to look up and see what really is, what's going on here? That's crazy. It doesn't look at all like that when I do it. Slideshow. My slide doesn't look at all like that. I am sorry, guys, but I can certainly read this to you. Utah's Medicaid expansion primarily covers adults 19 to 64 years old with income up to 138% of the federal poverty level. This includes childless adults and parents and caretakers, with the federal government covering 90% of the cost and the state covering the remaining 10%. The expansion is, really focused on covering individuals that are not on Targeted Adult Medicaid. It will add about 120,000 adults to the eligibility portion of our program. Now, we all know, that even Targeted Adult Medicaid is several thousand people, and, we're not going to come in contact with all of them. but this does expand possibilities for people to a pretty significant degree. I did put the federal poverty level here. One person is 15,650, and for two people, it's 21,150. So that is who the adult expansion generally serves. We are not really going to be focusing on that many individuals because we also have, eligibility criteria, which we will be going over as part of this presentation. I am going to let Linda begin to share her screen, and she's going to talk about the new care plan.
Hey, hello everyone. Can everyone see my screen?
I can.
Perfect. Okay. So we have modified the care plan just slightly. So we have a new service. Well, the service that we've added to the care plan was generally provided during case management, our case management services, but we have separated out non-medical transportation. And as you can see on the care plan, the billing code is T2003, and it is one way. And for the care plan, you'll just, on the provider, you'll put your agency name. The units, one unit is one way, so round trip would be 2 units. And we'll go over more detail as to what the service is, what we are thinking we will allow for the number of units, that type of thing, a little later in our training. And then the frequency will always be monthly. And your start date will be the date that the care plan is signed, and the end date will be the end date of TAM. We did also add a disenrollment checkbox under the plan type, and I know some agencies added that to their care plan, but we just added that for everyone. So those are the only 2 things that we added to the care plan, and we will just ask that you start using this as soon as possible. We understand that you probably have met with clients within the week, and so we'll still be accepting the previous care plan, but if you can submit this as soon as possible, and then we'll probably start sending care plans back if it's the old care plan in about 30 days.
Yeah, we want to give plenty of time. We don't know how you have this in your system or how you do all of this, but we do want to give you enough lead time to get this into your system. So we will be accepting the old care plans through the end of July. And, like Linda said, for at least 30 days. And then we'll ask for you to switch. So this will be for both the adult expansion and the targeted adult Medicaid. There aren't going to be 2 care plans. It will just be 1 care plan. And, for targeted adult Medicaid, the end date, it is only targeted adult Medicaid is usually a year. The adult expansion is more of a month-to-month situation. So we really want to stress that before you serve the individual every month, before you spend especially their $2,000 on various application fees or anything that you're spending money on, please go in to the eligibility lookup tool and check that to make certain that they are still on adult expansion. Linda, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I don't know if there's more detailed information than you can give, but we know that your eligibility lookup tool is going to be your best friend.
Yes, definitely. So, as many of you know, you already use the eligibility lookup tool. The most important thing is to make sure that the program type is either targeted adult Medicaid or adult expansion. So on the eligibility lookup tool, it's kind of right in the center of the screen, that program. But if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to schedule just a really quick Google Meet later, and we can just go over that screen in more detail. Unfortunately, I can't show you the screen because we have to use real clients. I wish that there was, a training one that we could use that didn't have real data, but unfortunately we have to use real data. So if you have any questions as to that program type or where to find it on the eligibility lookup tool, please reach out to me and we'll just schedule just a quick Google Meet and go over that with you.
Okay. Jason, you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I just had a quick question. With this new care plan and getting it out and getting it with all the new clients moving forward is awesome. But is this going to be something that we're going to want to go ahead and recreate for all of our existing clients so that we can start using this new line item, or no?
No. This will be just clients going forward.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure if we needed to add into the list of things to do, getting everyone that's currently in the program to sign this new care plan.
No, we don't have that burden on our agencies.
No. We have tried to make this, as little complication as is possible.
Thank you.
And so, no, everything that's in place, every care plan that's been signed, if you have care plans that you worked on this week and they're signed, send them in. That's why we're giving to the end of the month as well. Those will be as valuable as any other care plan. The only thing is if the person is part of adult expansion, they will need the new care plan.
Okay.
And we will send out this care plan to all of our current providers, and then it should be on our website hopefully by the end of the month.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But we will be sending an email packet to everyone with all these new documents so that we are not in charge of the website. So, Linda and I can't just pop things on there. We have to go through a process. So we'll be doing that with our partners at Human Services, and then they will put it on the website, but we will send these out end of the day today or, the beginning of next week.
Yeah. And Susie, you had a question?
Yes, I was just wondering with the adult expansion, if they're month to month, will there be an end date?
There should be a review date, but the tricky thing is, just like we do now, we approve through the review date, but sometimes they lose their eligibility before that review date. So just very important to check at least monthly, and definitely if you're making a security deposit or a larger payment, check that day as well.
Okay,
unfortunately, go ahead,
sorry, Chris.
Susie.
If we use the review date, if they are, if they do the review and they are still approved for adult expansion, can they stay on the program?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and you won't need to turn anything else in. The person will be approved for as long as they are eligible.
Right.
Okay.
And if they are extended, like we currently do now with TAM, you'll just send in a new care plan, with the new extension date.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And Susie, we're not exactly certain how all of these things are going to work together. We'll all be learning as we go. So we'll take deep breaths and do that, but this is what Linda and I understand at this current time. And once it actually is being worked on and you're sending things to us and all of this begins to happen, we'll learn more.
Yes.
Okay, Matt?
Yes, my question is the reason too why they're on month to month, obviously when they're on TAM, they're kind of locked in and can kind of make as much money as they need, right? And save money for that full year. But on adult expansion, right, they're limited to what they make on a monthly basis. So is that why they could go off if they have more than the 2,000 cap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also understand their reviews are shorter time periods than TAM as well. So they're reviewed more often than TAM.
So that'll be a little trickier with those clients just because like we, kind of help them get a job, get on their feet, and then they're going to definitely be shorter because if they're going to be making more money, it doesn't make sense for them to pay a spend down to stay on Medicaid, correct? That's why it's got to be month to month and be checking to make sure that they're still active. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Right. And I want to remind everyone, please, before you send your care plans to Linda, go over them, make sure they're signed by you, they're signed by the client. All of the blanks are filled in. It is getting to be a lot, and it's going to be a lot more. Happily, Linda and I have permission. We are going to be hiring a new person to help with the increase. But that will, take a month or two to get the new person hired and things up and running. So we're just asking for everybody to be as careful as possible so Linda can avoid sending things back.
Okay, and then we have a message from Roberto. And Roberto, what agency are you with?
First Step House.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you had questions about creating the care plan. So we can either stay on the meeting after and talk through this, or Kinsey could assist you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Yes. Okay.
Okay, any more questions about the care plan?
We are sorry that it's not as simple as the targeted adult Medicaid dates and all of that, but I think that we can all make this work, and it is just going to be a little bit more of a checkpoint. The problem that Linda and I face is it doesn't matter, how much we love you or how nice we are. If the person is not on Medicaid, we cannot, pay anything out for our program. It's a federal program, and so we don't have control. And that's why we want you to just be very, very careful, especially before you pay, a $1,500 security deposit. Because if the person is not being served, we won't be able to pay it. So, we just want to be very, very careful with all of this.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so now I will share my screen again. We really appreciate you being patient with us as we, flip back and forth. Okay, what I am sharing now, I feel like it looks big enough on my screen. I hope that it looks large enough on your screen. This is the new eligibility documentation. And what we're hopeful of is that this document will make it easier for you to make certain the person is qualified. Targeted adult Medicaid was just a little bit clearer, but we will want this document completed and somewhere in your file at the beginning of the time that you begin to serve the individual. So we will send this out in our packet as well today. As you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. The participant's name, circle which of the programs that they are being served through, your agency name, the case manager that is working with them on this document, and the care plan, of course. We're talking about social and clinical risk factors here, and all of the time these have been in place for targeted adult Medicaid, but it's really important that we are certain of all of this with the adult expansion, because there are many more people on that program, and they're receiving the service for different reasons. So for those that qualify for our program, they have to meet one social risk factor, which is not any different than the targeted adult Medicaid requirement, and then one clinical risk factor. Adults 65 years and older, this has not been a population that we have served, and you probably will not see this in this population very often at all. But CMS gave us permission in this group of clinical risk factors to serve them. So if you do have someone that is over 65 and meets the other criteria, the social risk factor and the clinical risk factor, give us a call. We'll talk through it. They should qualify for everything. We're just a little confused by this because it tells us on everything that this program serves individuals to 64. So we don't think this will come up very often, but as long as CMS gave us approval, we'll include it. And so this is just a document. All you need to do is circle one of these two social risk factors, circle one of the clinical risk factors, and pop this into the file. And if you're ever audited by the federal government, you will have filled this out. You will have known that this person qualified for these services. We tried to make this as simple as humanly possible because we don't want to add more work to the work you're already doing. But this is something that we just have to make absolutely certain of for the adult expansion program. And there's no reason why we wouldn't do it for targeted adult Medicaid too. Why not? It's just an extra cushion of certainty. Are there any questions?
And Chris, we would like the agencies to send this along with the care plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
And the tenant agreement as well.
Perfect.
So it will be, 3 documents, but the most important is that it's in your file for the individual. Linda, I don't know that this needs to be sent in
Okay.
because they are verifying it. It will be in the file. I don't think we need to add to what's sent in.
Okay.
Let's not do that. If we need to change that, we will let you know. But right now, let's just continue to send in the documentation that you send, the care plan, and just so that you are doing this along with those documents and that it is in the file, in front of the care plan, behind the care plan, wherever you put it, right in the beginning, so that we know that that individual qualified before you started serving them. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. I just don't think you need to take the time to, put this through the system or anything. Just have it in your file. And Linda, I will turn this over to you. Are you sure there are no further questions about this document? I mean, you guys are all on silent, so we can't hear you moaning, but we know you might be moaning, and we apologize for that. And that's why we tried to make this a really simple circle this, circle that, straightforward document. And we don't mind if you want to take off your microphone silencer and moan. We don't mind that at all.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the non-medical transportation service. So we had this service when I worked with the aging waiver population, and we just have adopted kind of some of the rules we established with that program for our program. So as I mentioned previously, the billing code is T2003. It's a one-way trip. So 1 unit would be one way, 2 units would be a round trip. We are looking to authorize 6 to 8 round trips per month. So that would be 12 to 16 units that you would add to the care plan. I think we wanted to also just talk to our providers and see if they feel like that is a reasonable amount of trips. We understand some providers do not currently provide this, maybe due to a liability issue, that type of thing. But the providers who are currently providing this service, but just billing under case management currently, do you feel like that is a good amount, what you would need for the clients?
Are there any people on at this training that do non-medical transportation for their individuals? Does no one do that?
The in-between does.
The in-between does? Okay. Does it seem like 4 to 6 round trips is enough a month for you?
Yeah, I would think so. Outside of what we're already providing. Is that what you're asking?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
But
I
just
mean,
for housing items.
yeah, this would be housing focused, of course, but non-medical transportation. Jason, I saw you raise your hand. Your agency does this as well?
Yeah, so I'm the one that usually goes out with the clients when we go shopping, and when we take them out to initially go view an apartment. I've had a few clients that felt more comfortable doing it with the assistance of me there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But
So that's what this is for that type of trip. Does 4 to 6 a month seem good?
is that in total or per client?
Per client.
Per
Yeah,
client.
that should be plenty, because I mean, maybe 4 is probably almost more on the line of how many I usually do, if it's like going to an apartment with them and then going shopping with them and stuff like that. Because I've ran into, I usually go shopping with the individuals, like the first round with a bulk purchase.
That's
And
why we thought we'd go
over
4 to 6, per person.
6 would be, I mean, I think that's great.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
Okay. And then, so since, question, we have Susie?
Susie?
Sorry, I was just wondering if you were going to contract with any providers that provide transportation only, like some of the other waiver programs. Is that a consideration, or maybe not yet?
Not yet.
Not discussed that. So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
But if that is something that you would like us to explore, I'm going to talk a little bit about our autumn symposium that we will have again this year. And I would really want you to be getting comfortable with this new, program, comfortable with the changes. And we're going to be able to have some good discussion at that symposium, I believe. So by then, that would be a great thing for you to let us know if that's something you would like us to explore. I don't know if there is a way to do that if other programs do it. We're not a waiver program. So we have to follow different regulations, but it doesn't mean that that has to be no if it's something that our providers need and want. And also at that symposium, Linda and I are working on guidelines for the program. All of you that have been doing this work with us for the last year, 2 years, know that we try to not make very many rules around the program. We want you to have your own guidelines and be able to develop the program that fits your agency. But Linda and I are going to be working on some guidelines that we will present at that symposium. And it really is, they're an outcropping of the work we've done with you. And they're kind of a best practice sort of thing, which doesn't mean, no matter what, it's a rule, but it's a guideline. And if ever something has to be different than the guidelines, maybe we would have a chat about it.
Right. And just a couple more items with the transportation. So since the code is split out, you cannot bill case management time at the same time as your non-medical transportation. So if you provide both services in the same day, just clearly document in your notes, this time to this time was case management, and then this time to this time was the non-medical transportation. Also, just a reminder, the client needs to be in the vehicle in order to bill for this service. So we don't allow for this billing if the client is not with you. As far as a one-way trip, we have kind of established a guideline that let's say you're going to the DMV to help them get a state ID or renew their license, then you're also taking them to Walmart, and maybe they're just a block apart. That would be considered a one-way trip. But if there's more than 3 miles between the two destinations, you can build them as separate one-way trips. Does that make sense? And then also just the last reminder that if it's any medical type service, Medicaid has a contract with a provider that helps clients get to their medical appointments. Our transportation would be non-medical and housing related. So any other questions?
We would also ask you in your log notes to document these trips, just like you do when you meet with the individual in your case management role. It's fine if you do case management, with the individual from 9 to 10, and then you bill for a round trip to visit a landlord or go get a driver's license or whatever you're doing, from 11 to 12. We just want the case management and the transportation piece to be separate. Of course, it doesn't mean you can't talk with the client while they're in your car and, be doing things, but that can't be billed in the same hour, case management from 10 to 11 and a round trip from 10 to 11. We would want them to be separated.
Yeah. And please document as well the location where you went, and address would be helpful.
Yeah, that would be great. That you went to the DMV or, whatever you write in log notes to describe the event. That would be perfect. And it doesn't need to be separate, in a separate place. It would just, instead of it being a case management hour, you would just label it transportation in your file. Does that seem easy enough and possible? We really do want you to tell us if things seem too cumbersome. We've worked hard to try to make sure that they're not. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
So with the non-medical transport, when we're going out and we're doing the shopping and the furnishing and helping them do that, if we are having them come down to the location and then we leave from here and we go to Walmart and then we go to Costco because they have a better price.
Very good question, Jason.
Then
As
I
long-
take them to their new stable living and we unload everything. And then I come back. Is there gonna be, I guess I'm kind of confused with, am I gonna want to do like 1 hour of drive time and then the rest of it I'm going to document as the T2017 for the time that we're out at those stores shopping and doing stuff like that. So it'd be like the 1 hour of transport, then an hour and a half or 2 hours at Walmart under T2017, and then don't add another one from Walmart to their apartment. Just count that in the first hour that I've documented, or am I going to want to do the non-medical transport, then the T2017?
I'm going to let Linda, I can tell Linda wants to answer this. Go, Linda.
Okay, so you can count your time that you are in Walmart and you are at the apartment. The only time you cannot count together is while you're physically driving. So those two cannot be combined. So you just have to keep them really clear in your log notes. So you could say, drove to Walmart, this time to this time, in Walmart shopping this time to this time, drove to this place. Just keep it very separate and just make sure that your stops, in order to bill an extra one way, it has to be at least 3 miles away from your stop.
Okay.
Right. So if you're going, if you're going, for example, to the DMV and then to Walmart, if they're 3 miles apart, you can call it 2 round trips.
2 one-ways.
2 one-ways, and then home, another one way.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't like go to Walmart and then walk over to Target and have it be another, it has to be 3 miles separation for it to be a second one way.
Yes.
Does
Okay.
that, everyone, does that seem like what makes sense?
Almost.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And please email us questions, call us anytime that you need to discuss these things. And if you need more detail, let us know. We are working right now on the Housing Related Services and Support Summit. We are hopeful that it will take place sometime in October. Last year we ended up being in the first week of November due to space issues and that sort of thing. So we are working on securing a location right now, but we are hopeful it will be in October, and hopefully by the end of the month, you will have a save the date for that in place. I'm really kind of curious to hear from all of you what you might want the symposium to look like. We know that we will be talking about the adult expansion and how that has, impacted our data and the people being served. We will talk about these new documents. We will go over the guidelines that Linda and I are working on preparing. But we also want your ideas. What would you like to see happen during that time frame? Last year, we set aside 2 hours from 2 to 4, and most of us were there until 5. So I'm thinking that I'm going to ask for a 3-hour time slot, just so if we go over our allotted 2 hours, we are not, rushed to the curb. I think a lot of the discussion that goes on after the meeting is important, and I don't want to cut that short. I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts about that as well. So you all know how to get a hold of us. Hopefully Linda and I are responsive and answer your calls and answer emails, as quickly as we can. We put on our email messages when we're out of town so that if we're slow to respond, the reason for that. But we really do want to hear from you about our discussion today, and we'd like your ideas about the autumn symposium as well. Thank you so much. I guess we're all done.
Thank
Have
you.
great days, everyone. Stay out of this atrocious heat. And if you love the heat, I'm thrilled for you. You should have a month of joy. Everyone take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chris, do we want to stop the recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Just wanted to stay on for a minute to tell you guys, thanks again.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a great day.